Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's meeting, November 4th, 2025, meeting of the Oldham County Fiscal Court. I'm David Vogel, Judge Executive. Happy to have all of you here with us today. If you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you have a cell phone with you today, please turn it to off or vibrate. Holly, will you please call the roll?
Magistrate Likens.
Here.
Magistrate Tice.
Here.
Magistrate Woosley.
Here.
Magistrate Jeffries.
Here.
Magistrate Hounds.
Here.
Magistrate Hawkins.
Here.
Magistrate Dye.
Present.
Magistrate Logston. Here. Judge Vogel.
Here. Having all members of the fiscal court present, this meeting is now in session. Is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Are there any additions or deletions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now I'll ask for approval of our minutes from October 21st.
So moved, Judge. Second.
Any corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Abstain.
Motion carries. Was there an abstention?
One abstention. One.
All right. Mr. Woosley, thank you. All right, time now for public comment. That's the time we have during our meeting at each time, and any registered voter in Oldham County is eligible to speak, and I'd like to, if there is anyone here, please step forward.
Judge,
Sir.
before they begin, we all got an email today about our public comment and the way we do those. I shared that with your office. The email brought up concerns about folks giving their addresses when they speak. I don't see any public benefit of folks having to give their address when they come to speak, and I'd like to see us change that.
Well, Magistrate, I'm personally not willing to change it. It's been my procedure here for the last 15 years. I think the public comment is open to any registered voter in Oldham County. We have to have some assurance you live in Oldham County. There is no requirement under state statute that we even have an open comment session. We're totally able to set the rules for our open comment session, and that's one that, I've, let's say I don't like to use the word enforce, but required, asked for the last 15 years. So I think it's been a good procedure. We've had no objections to it until someone objected today. So I don't think one objection's enough to really reverse that policy. I'd like to ask first person now to come forward, please.
Judge,
Sir.
excuse my voice, it's not any better than it was. I think this is the first time I've ever heard you use the term registered voter in making that comment. Is that something new, or? I think this room is for anybody that lives in this county, isn't it?
Well,
Not everybody registered to vote for different reasons.
registered voter, everybody who's a registered voter in Oldham County is a person who has some degree of say, for lack of a better term, in what happens here. If you're not a registered voter in our county, you're, I wouldn't say a visitor, but you could, if you were, let's say, staying at Motel 6, you were living there for some reason, you're a construction worker living at Motel 6, are you really someone that, has a voice and a stake in our community? I don't think so.
I understand that point, but I have one person on my street who is a cruise ship captain, and he doesn't have dual citizenship, but he's lived here for, I've been here 23 years. And a guy down the street is a UPS pilot, and he's from Canada, and he doesn't have dual citizenship, and he's been there as long as I have. So are you telling those, they can't vote, but I think they have some say in this?
Well, I guess we have a disagreement there. I think if you're not eligible to vote in your community, you can have an opinion, but, are we going to listen to people come over here from Indiana to express their opinion about something in Oldham County?
I believe that would be up to you at the time they gave their address if you wanted to counter that.
Right. I mean, we're just trying to be clear about it, that the people who have a stake in our community are the people who are registered to vote on the direction of the county government and the other public bodies in this community. If you don't have that ability, then, certainly welcome, you can live here, but I don't think your stake is quite that, much.
But I'm still going back to my original statement that this is the first time I remember seeing this. I'll look at some of the old tapes and see if I see it on there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Magistrate Hawkins.
I've been in committee meetings all day, and so I'm not familiar with the email that you said came this morning. Is this the one that came at, so I can know what one we're talking about 10:01 this morning from a female resident magistrate?
I believe, let me double check that. Yes, 10:01, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I brought this up before. I haven't read it, so I can't comment specifically on that, but the subject of having to give addresses at the podium, and I would be in favor of not having to make people do that in order to speak publicly at these meetings.
Yeah. And Judge, according to what you just said, students can't even come up and discuss now because they're not registered voters.
Who?
Students, anybody under 18 that may have I just think if we're going to have public comment, it needs to be open to the public regardless of what you are, and we only give them 4 minutes anyways, so I understand it's your decision, your call, but that's just my thoughts on it. If we're going to open it up to public, let's open it up to all the public, regardless. And
Regardless of who they are, where they live,
you may own a business in
Well-
Oldham County, but live in Jefferson County. You've still got some input. You've got some value of your opinion here in Oldham County. Even the folks that live in the hotel are paying tourist tax, so they still have a buy-in into what goes on here in the county, even if they're here short term. But it's your administration. You do what you want to do. That's my opinion. I don't think we
Okay.
should require them to give their address when they come.
Well, I respect everybody's opinion here, and it's never been an issue in the last 15 years until this spring, okay? So I'll ask ask you to come and state your name and address.
Yes, my name is John Nelson. I'm a 40-year resident of Oldham County. I'm here today because I want to present what I'm doing here. I've started my own grassroots effort it didn't turn out up there very good, but my own grassroots effort for voter registration. Currently in this in this county, I'm sorry, we have 1 in 6 people are not registered to vote in this county. And I'd like to see that improved because by doing that, we have better choices. By the same token, I put together these cards that are up there on the screen. It's my own design. It's not very good, but it's mine. And it tells people how they can get registered to vote in 5 minutes. And there's a QR code on the back, and there's a website on the front that they can get to. And so basically, I'm just doing this on my own, but I wanted to get that out in front of people. The bottom line is that if we do a better job of that, we have better decisions, we have better candidates, and all that being said, then we have the best county there is. So that's what I'm after. That's it.
All right, thank you.
Only took 2 minutes.
Good job.
Mary Lowry, 326 Maple Avenue, Pee Wee Valley. Now, before I speak, did you all want to approve the agenda or the minutes, or you just want to go right to public comment? You have? Okay. Well, I'm delighted to be back to speak to you all today about the incredible project you're considering. As you know, I work in the horse industry and real estate, and I'm a huge green space proponent as well. I've sat here in this room and been in this building countless times and voiced my opinion about smart growth. What you all are proposing is crucial to preserving the identity of our county. You all heard your constituents as we participated in the creation of the comprehensive plan, and in doing this, I feel you understand how imperative balancing our preservation of open spaces with development is for the county. Harrods Creek is a critical resource of our county, and public protection of the creek and green space that surrounds it is a powerful statement from the leaders of this county. This green space will allow the citizens of this county to have increased exposure to the natural environment, hike along the creek. They could stay in Oldham County and enjoy public space. It will provide an opportunity for recreation, relaxation, and physical activity, promote community identity and a sense of well-being, and provide economic benefits at both the community and household level. The impact this will have on our county will be felt for generations. Permanently preserving this land by putting it in its entirety or land along the creek in conservation easement and partnering with a land trust to ensure its protection is crucial in creating a legacy project such as this. Think of the Parklands and Olmsted Park. You say that to your constituents and they get it. You have in this county a tremendous amount of support for this project. Numerous organizations and individuals that will love to help. There's been interest in protecting the creek and watershed by private citizens for many years. County government will be putting itself in a leadership role in preserving the Harrods Creek watershed, an effort that already has a great deal of momentum, interest, and resources. Landowners have been implementing practices to preserve the creek for years. Your efforts will enhance awareness and encourage others to do the same. You're not alone in this project. Your constituents understand the potential for additional protection in the Harrods Creek corridor. It's very real. Developers have looked at the Stewart property. I look at it and I think this property is not developable. However, economically, they could use this property along with the Fenley Farm to put additional sewer infrastructure, which would finally make economic sense for a development along 393. That 393 corridor would then see explosive growth. In the last several weeks, I've spoken to tons of people, so many people in our county who are deeply passionate and want to support your efforts. We would like to help you. Boots on the ground, planning and implementation, fundraising, any support the county needs once the land is acquired in making this project an incredible asset for the county. We will help you. Let's not let this opportunity pass us by. In closing, I'd like to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you for taking care of your constituents in the county. Your hard work, all of your hard work is much appreciated and does not go unnoticed. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else?
Hello, excuse me. My name is Daniel Warren. My wife and I recently purchased the property at 4155 Stewart Lane. We absolutely fell in love with the property and the beauty of the land that surrounds it. Once we discovered that the county was interested in acquiring this property, we could not have been happier. We look forward to the process. My wife and I both believe that land conservation on any level is always a good thing for the community, for future generations, et cetera. I think with the proper planning, the balance between public access and privacy and preservation can all be, an easy thing for all of us to accomplish. So I'm definitely for it, and I look forward to hopefully participating in a little bit of the process if it goes forward. So good luck with everything, and we look forward to it.
I believe you mentioned that you are also interested in trying to help maintain the property where you can.
Yes, my wife and I have, we took over, I'm not sure if Nathan Stewart is who we purchased the home from, and we are now officially farmers on a small level. We have animals and whatnot, and we also have equipment that could help maintain the trails, again, maybe on a small level, but I would definitely be interested in possibly participating in trail maintenance, any kind of maintenance really, and just overall helping with the project and being a good steward, if you will, of such a beautiful piece of property that we've only recently acquired, but are absolutely in love with, and we look forward to the future of this project. So I can't say enough about it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the court? All right, seeing no one, I'll close public comment, and we'll move on with the first item on our agenda today, and that is item A, the bills to be paid.
Judge, I'll make a motion, we pay the payables.
Second.
All right, moved, motion and second. Any discussion on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. It seems a little dark, and do we have all the lights on in here? No. Or are we missing a couple?
These lights are all here.
Okay.
No, it's,
Mike, can you get the? There we go. Okay, thank you. Oops.
Somebody doesn't want those lights on.
Just stand over there, Michael.
Right, thank you. Now we have the first reading of a proposed ordinance, KOC 25-910-518 of the comprehensive plan. Planning Director Ryan Fisher.
Hello, Judge Magistrates. Thank you for having me. So, as Judge stated, this is the first reading of a proposed ordinance for the Oldham County Comprehensive Plan. You all provided a link to the documents digitally, but then I also printed off sets for you all today. So, if you all find some time to read the 170 pages that are there between now and our second reading, I would much appreciate it. As you know, the Oldham County Comprehensive Plan is sort of our 5-year projection of where we look at where we think growth may occur within the county, where we think development may occur, and so we try to get our glass ball out in planning and zoning and try to figure out where that's going to happen. This year, what we did was we actually started this process way back in December of last year. Went through an early spring set of public meetings, about 5 of those in different areas of the county. We also had an online public comment portion as well. So about the first 10 to 15 pages in that comprehensive plan are sort of kind of an introduction of the process and what we went through. There was a survey that was done as well. So that's about the first 15 pages. The goals and objectives section, I'll just kind of give you a real brief overview of that. That has been diminished greatly, but I will say it's because the Brownsboro Master Plan had its own set of goals and objectives in there. We completely removed those. We did not remove the Brownsboro Master Plan in its whole. It is now in a section at the very end called Supplemental Resources, where we would stick any of our other watershed plans, any of our traffic studies that have been approved that we would use as sort of guiding documents, not necessarily as a set of goals and objectives. There was also a government section in there that really nobody ever used the goals and objectives in there at all for anything. There's still community facilities goals and objectives, which pertain to a lot of the public buildings and things that you all would see, the libraries and fire stations and police stations that would be brought before you all. So take a look at that section. Other than that, there's been kind of some wording changes. There was a lot of goals and objectives that were in 2 different sections that were very similar, and so kind of changed the wording up a little bit on some of those. And we added a tourism section, which had never been in there prior. So we thought tourism was an extremely important component to the county, so that has been added in as well. So took out 2 sections, added 1, and sort of changed some wording. The plan element section is probably the most extensive section of the document, but that's really a lot of stuff that you all are already going to know. Things that our parks are doing, our libraries are doing, police agencies, the numbers that they have, fire departments in the county, what the run numbers were within the past year, environmental things, transportation projects, the stuff is in there from the state highway transportation plan. A lot of that stuff you all are going to be familiar with. So if there's a section of it that you all can kind of flip through fast, that's probably the one section for that. We utilized a lot of our department heads here in the county and then also some of our cities to get that information for us. So Julie Wilson with the library, Chief Smith with Oldham County Police, Sheriff Wakefield, Parks Department Director Gary Parsons, as well as the Parks Director in LaGrange, Kim Hides with Tourism, Becky Zockline with Solid Waste before she left. So they were very instrumental in creating those sections. So that's a very big section as well. And then the last component of it is the future land use map. which was a separate little kind of 10 or 12 page section there for you all to have as well. Really, there's only 4 major proposed changes in there. The future land use map. Keep in mind the future land use map simply just tries to give us an idea of where that, what that might become in 5 years. It doesn't change the zoning. It just sort of says this is kind of our thought of what that might be. And so really the 4 areas are the KSR property, because we don't know what's going to happen with that within the next 3 to 5 years with the prison. Commerce Parkway Extension area, Clayton Lambert property across from Oldham County High School, and then there's a small little parcel out Highway 22 and 393 for the proposed changes. Other than that, there's some cleanup, some things of that nature, and we'll explain more of that in a couple weeks on those changes. But just kind of wanted to give you a brief overview and kind of throw out, some sections you would want to look at. So the Planning Commission did approve that, recommended to the legislative bodies on October 9th. And so we're starting that this week. I was at LaGrange last night, here today, Pee Wee Valley Wednesday, and Crestwood next week. So I'm making my rounds. So.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll take this up later. Next item, second reading of a public hearing and proposed ordinance for KOC 25-920516 regarding a zoning map amendment located on Jericho Road. Anna Barge, planning.
Hello, Anna Barge, Senior Planner. I will be giving the presentation for Jericho Road. So Fall City Contracting, LLC, has submitted a zoning map amendment for 2 single-family homes at 706 Jericho Road in LaGrange. So the application they filed was for that zoning map amendment and development plan on a property located at 706 Jericho Road in LaGrange. The property is half an acre and is zoned I-1 light industrial, and they proposed a zoning of CN commercial neighborhood. So currently the land use is undeveloped, and I'm sure most of y'all know where Jericho Road is, but it's north of the interstate, just a couple minutes from here. So this is the property in red. So as you can see, it's the corner of Kidwell and Jericho Road. There's nothing on it right now other than this shed and a tiny little, maybe doghouse, I think is what it's supposed to be. And as you can see on the plans provided, they are going to remove that shed. So this is the current zoning. All this in purple is I-1. All this on the south side of Jericho Road is R2A, and this is R4. I think it's a senior living facility. So I also included the city limits because it's an interesting area. A lot of people had questions about whether it's in the city limits or not. Everything in that light blue color is the city limits. And as you can see, this lot is not in light blue. So it is not the city limits, which is why it's coming to you for the legislative body portion of the rezoning. For the case history, the pre-application and neighborhood meetings were done in July, with the technical review committee done in August, and Planning Commission recommended approval at their September meeting. So the first reading was 2 weeks ago, and then the APO notices were mailed on October 14th, with the public notice appearing in the Oldham Era on the 16th, and sign posted on the property 2 weeks ago on the 21st. So the applicant is seeking a zoning map amendment from I-1 light industrial to CN commercial neighborhood to allow for the proposed 2 single-family homes. According to the zoning ordinance 140-010, you'll see this at every section of the zoning ordinances. It's just a description. So commercial neighborhood district is to promote the reuse of structures located in urban areas of Oldham County that may have been constructed for mixed use commercial or residential use, which may be currently under use or vacant. And then also CN zoning may be appropriate for new construction where a mixture of business and residential use is found to conform with the comprehensive plan and any master plan covering that area. So this is the plan. So this is Kidwell Road right here and Jericho Road. The KYTC, since this is a state road, they did review this, and they said that they wanted the entrances for the houses to be on Kidwell Lane, which is why they've oriented it this direction, or have to orient it this direction. So as you can see, there's one house here, and another house here, and then this is that shed that I was telling you about that they're removing. So, and these other buildings are just adjacent properties. So here's where I put up the sign. This is kind of looking at the corner of the lot towards the neighbor properties and their Rottweilers who were talking to me while I was putting this up. And then this is that shed. This is straight from Jericho Road, Kidwell over here. That's that shed that's going to be removed, and that little dog house that I assume that's also going to be removed. And then this is a perspective from Kidwell Lane. And then this is straight on. It's really dark with the color of the screen, but the sun was rising. This was before the time change. So this is our light industrial district regulations. As you can see, they have a 100 feet setback for front yard for structures, and the lot, I believe, is maybe narrower than that. And then the 35 feet setback for side yard and 25 feet for rear yard. So these are all the permitted uses that theoretically they could do right now under light industrial, and then all the conditional uses that theoretically they could go through the Board of Adjustments with the current zoning. So this is the commercial neighborhood regulations, what they're proposing, and this is what would be permitted uses under commercial neighborhood and conditional uses. So I highlighted two things, one of them being single family detached, the other being business and professional offices. So the reason I highlighted that was their proposition was if they can't, or if they decide not to use it for single family residential, they could do like a law office or a CPA office. So this zoning gives them the flexibility to do either, or maybe somebody who's a CPA could physically live at the property and then have one room to do their CPA work in as well. So this is the summary page. The binding elements, so the first three are our standard binding elements. The application only applies to the plan presented at that September Planning Commission hearing, and then there shall be no changes without review by the Oldham County Planning Commission and County Engineer's Office. And the third one, they just have to follow all state, county, and federal laws. Additionally, we added minor plats shall be submitted and approved at staff level to create the proposed tracts A and B. As many as you know, you can't have two houses on one lot. So if this gets approved, their next step would be to complete that minor plat. And if that minor plat doesn't get approved, then they wouldn't move forward. But they would have to do the minor plat in order to get construction approval to build those two houses. And then lastly, there shall be a minimum 7-foot side yard setback to 650 Kidwell Lane property. And I can go back and show you that property. So that's over here, which they already have that in their plan. So those are the binding elements that were approved at Planning Commission. And I'm ready for questions if it's that time.
I have a question.
Magistrate Logston.
Can you go back to the aerial view?
Of the actual map or
Yes.
this one?
Yes.
The map, okay. And these are approximate lines. Keep in mind, they're
So-
not survey grade.
The Kidwell Lane, how wide is that? Is that county specs? So my question is, if there's going to be two other parcels put there and separated out, are we going to have a traffic problem right there again?
So,
Because I thought I saw some gravel also.
yeah, Kidwell Lane is county maintained. It is likely, I don't know the exact measurements, but it probably doesn't meet our current standards of 20 to 22 feet. But one thing we looked at is right now they're proposing two homes, correct? So the traffic generated from those two homes is not significant. If they were to propose something of a commercial nature, like a coffee shop or something else, that would have to come back to planning and zoning in my office for review. And at that time, we could look at something, some improvements if needed. But at this time, again, because of the minimal traffic generated, it wasn't a concern. And they are showing on that plat donation or dedication of additional right-of-way. So improvements would be available, or area would be available for improvements in the future.
Judge, I have a question.
Magistrate Jeffries.
Yes, Anna, I noticed that's a 0.5 acre lot, half acre, so I assume it's on sewers.
Yes.
And where is the sewer plant? Is it, does it go through is it MSD, LaGrange?
I believe it would be LaGrange Utilities. We don't usually we're not entitled to that information most of the time, but we're working on getting it from LaGrange Utilities as of today, actually.
Okay, so they're okay as far
Yes.
as.
Yeah, and that was part of the TRC review process. So, at TRC, we have whatever the sewer was. So I believe, it was LaGrange Utilities, and they comment to that as well. So they'll have to file whatever forms and everything that they need to tie into the sewer system. So they'll have to meet those standards.
Is there, I assume, adequate water there, and also is there gas on those lots?
I do not know if there's gas, but water, they also had it. That was part of the TRC process as well. So I believe that would be the city of LaGrange's water as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Major Hawkins.
What was the justification for 7-foot side yard setback from Kidwell?
So I think they just wanted to make sure there was enough space so they weren't, because if you look at the CN regulations, there's not really a requirement for a side yard setback. So it says when abutting a residential district, there's a house next door, but it's zoned industrial. And what we consider that legal non-conforming. So they were probably there before the zoning regulation. And we just want to make sure, I think the intention of the Planning Commission was to just protect those homes. They were already meeting that on their plan, but the Planning Commission wanted to go ahead and put that in there as a binding element.
Okay, could you put the plan up there again?
So it's on this side.
Okay, and then do we normally, I feel like we normally get building plans like the front, the facade, what it's going to look like when we do zoning change?
No, we don't usually do that, but I believe they have that in their presentation.
Okay, so they'll present that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Anna. Now, this is a public hearing, so there's a process to go through here. First presentation will be by the applicant, and they have 50 minutes to speak if needed. And then we'll allow those who want to question the applicant, and then we allow statements from the opposition and so forth. Anyone who is prepared to speak here today will be asked to stand and be sworn in. And when you come up, you will be asked to give your name and address. And see on the form I'm looking at here, this has been the policy since November 16th of 2007. So it's not anything just.
Can I ask if there's anybody in opposition of this?
Yeah,
Might make this go a little faster if there's.
Okay.
Is there anybody?
Is there anybody here well, that's a good question. Anybody here in opposition to this proposed change? Don't see too many.
Don't see too
Don't
many?
see any.
Okay, I was going to say, what
All
are
right.
you seeing?
All right. Okay, applicant, let you come forward and make a statement here, and maybe we'll zip through the rest of it here. All right, sir? You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you.
My name is Neil Salyer. I'm an attorney with Bramall Law, just down the street at 401 West Jefferson Street. Before I get started into my presentation, I want to take a quick moment and extend my gratitude to the judge, the court, for allowing me to present on behalf of my client today and to discuss our request for this zoning map amendment. So thank you. So I represent, again, Fall City Contracting LLC. They bought property at 706 Jericho Road, which is just outside of the city limits, as you just heard. And they're seeking approval of an amendment request to the Oldham County zoning map to change the current zoning of this piece of property that is I-1 or light industrial. And the requested zoning change is going to go to CN, which is a commercial neighborhood, to allow for a little more flexibility on the property. Now, I'll move through this as quickly as I can, and unfortunately, Ms. Barge did such a good job in her presentation that I think a lot of my slides are going to go over some of the same information. But while we were putting this presentation together, we wanted the court to understand the project history, what our proposal is, the factors to consider for the proposal, The zoning comparisons from I-1 to CN, the compatibility benefits if this approval is granted, some construction examples, which Magistrate Hawkins had requested, I believe, and then our conclusion. So the project history started on July 3rd when we initially sat down with the board to discuss what our goals were and to hear recommendations, how we wanted to move forward. We had a couple of neighborhood meetings. We initially found out that that apartment complex that was shown to you guys initially fell within the 500 feet. So we had a second neighborhood meeting. Technical review was on August 20th. Planning and zoning was September 23rd, where they approved to the legislative body, and which is why we're here today for the second reading. So again, the proposal, I-1 to CN, my clients want to break this half-acre piece of property down into two distinct tracts in order to build single-family homes on it. Now again, with CN, it does provide the flexibility to have professional neighborhood businesses like a law office or an accounting office or a CPA or something like that. But to be very clear, and I think this is where most of our questions came from as we have gone through this process, was around what does commercial really mean in this situation? And in the planning and zoning meeting that we attended, we were very clear and want to be very clear again. While the request is for CN zoning, my client's goal here is to build one detached single-family home on each piece of property and rent that home out as a single-family home. Will not be a business. Further, they understand, should either my clients or owners in the future want to, again, as was discussed, put a coffee shop in or something like that, that needs to come back to planning and zoning for approval. So the goal here is single-family home on each of the two tracts to be used as a single-family home. In order to accomplish this, again, the property will have to be rezoned from I-1 to CN. So this map is expanded out a little bit compared to what you'd seen earlier. And if you look up in the top right corner here where the circle is, the red circle, that's the property in question. That's our Jericho Road property. Now, I expanded it out so the court could see what the zoning looks like around it. And we have residential here. Here is that apartment complex that I mentioned a second ago. Residential here, and then commercial all through here along the railroad tracks. Now, I expanded this out a little bit farther to show you that there is CN zoning relatively close to where we are. Now, again, this is East Main. Of course, we all know where that is, right at the edge of the railroad going through downtown. Those are CN. We have CN down here near East Washington Street. We have CN up here. And it's not listed, but I believe this is CN as well, just on the other side of the railroad tracks. Now, if we look back at the property that we're discussing today, it's truly a buffer between residential and commercial industrial zoning. It could sit as a CN and fit perfectly into the master plan and be able to accomplish what is thought that should be accomplished with CN zoning. So again, right on the edge as a buffer from residential and from industrial. Any questions about this map? I know it's hard to read.
Judge, I do have a question.
Magistrate Jeffers.
The property just to the west of where you have circled, you say that is commercial?
No.
I mean residential?
Residential.
But there's a group home there, a
That's right.
nursing facility there?
That's right. And then, again, you see you have the group home facility, more industrial, and then this is an apartment complex.
And you also said that this property was on the edge of the city limits. It's actually surrounded by city limits.
It is.
So it's more of a donut within the city zone, city boundaries.
That's right. If you go back, if I remember Ms. Barge's map correctly, almost all of the industrial right here is what falls outside of the city limits. Is that accurate?
I think there's just a small strip along Jericho Road that is not in the city limits, closer to Main Street. And then that area that you've got a pointer over right now is not in the city.
Okay. Right here.
And the two in the city are
Jeffries.
Yes, I'm sorry. No. I just had a quick question. It's not in the city now, but it is on sewers, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I assume the sewers were put in quite some time ago. Normally, in order to get sewers, you have to be, within the city limits if they're providing sewers. So I would assume that was done years ago.
Yes, that's my understanding.
The city charges a surcharge if you're outside of the city on their sewer and water. At one point, it was 4%. I don't know what it is now.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Magistrate Hawkins.
Those two appear, when I was looking into this, to the left of the circle, those are both R4, I think. So is the reason for not wanting to go to residential is to have the future potential use instead of doing an R2 and then asking for the waiver to allow a business? If you just do CN, then you could have the okay, so you're trying to avoid, because it's R4, R2 across the street.
Correct.
It sounds like you're trying to avoid having to come get another use permit after the homes are built for a potential business.
Well, it is, except again, we had agreed with planning and zoning that if we do have to come back, or if there is a request to change this to a business, that we would have to go back through that process. When we were reviewing the property and looking at what the options might be, we thought that CN provided the most flexibility, which is why we came with that request.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So again, you've seen the plan. We have, again, this is Jericho Road, going on your screen, north and south. Kidwell is here. Per TRC and talking with the Transportation Cabinet, State Highway, we knew that we knew that we couldn't bring driveways off of Jericho, which is why we have two here off of Kidwell. Again, this is that buffer that was discussed earlier, the setback. It is larger than the 7-foot side yard, which was requested. But frankly, what that does is it'll give my client the ability to look at potentially putting a garage on the property if they would like to. They haven't made that final decision yet, but there is enough room based on the drawings here to put in the type of single family home that they want, and there is enough room even with the 7-foot side yard setback. Should they seek to have an attached garage onto the home, they'll have that flexibility. Now, the factors to be considered. KRS 100.123 tells the fiscal court what to look at when looking to grant a map amendment. It says before any map amendment is granted, the fiscal court must find that the map amendment is in agreement with the adopted comprehensive plan, or in the absence of such a finding, that one or more of the following apply. A, that the existing zoning classification given the property is inappropriate and that the proposed zoning classification is appropriate. Or B, that there have been major changes of an economic, physical, or social nature within the area involved, which were not anticipated. Now, I think If we look at this, if we look at the map, if we look at how this is a buffer property that sits between industrial and residential, we would argue that it does go with the comprehensive plan. And further, the existing zoning classification, if we were to drop down to subsection A, if you look at the setbacks and so forth that come with an industrial designation, those setback requirements make it almost unusable as an industrial piece of property. Now, if we talk about Oldham County's comprehensive plan, the request follows and advances this comprehensive plan. We look at objective LU-1-1. The goal is to utilize the development review process to ensure that future land uses are compatible with surrounding land uses, and to include review of existing or planned community facilities. Further, and I spent a lot more time researching this and putting this on the slide when I was putting this together. Objective LU-1-3 establishes development priority areas and provides incentives for compatible development proposals within these areas. Now, if you drop down to subsection 1 and also the commentary and the notes in the master plan or in the comprehensive plan, you'll see that LU-1-3 is used to encourage development to locate in areas with existing infrastructure and services before moving into less developed areas. Again, here, if you think back to the map, this is one vacant piece of property where everything else around it is developed. My client's goal is to be able to develop this property similarly to what is around it and what is allowed by the comprehensive plan. So the commentary that I mentioned says, development priority areas are intended to facilitate the efficient use of financial and environmental resources. Development priority areas provide an effective means to use vacant, bypassed, and underutilized lands ranging in size from single lots to many acres, provided that there is adequate infrastructure and no environmental constraints, which again, we have covered throughout this process at TRC, at planning, and then with questions and comments that have been raised today. Now, if we look at the zoning comparisons, I-1 again is what it is now. It's intended for commercial storage and manufacturing, things like warehouses, vehicular repair, contractor storage, and funeral homes and mortuaries, which I don't think you could fit a funeral home on that small lot. But going back to what we talked about earlier in the setbacks, requires large setbacks, allows high lot coverage. It's just not compatible with the current residential neighborhood growth in the area. The front yard setbacks, 100 feet for structures. I think our lot width, if Google's correct, it's about 50 feet wide, and then a 75-foot side yard setback makes it essentially unusable. Now, for the CN commercial neighborhood zoning, this type of zoning is designated to promote small scale business, mixed business, and residential uses, which again is what my client plans on using it for. So section 140-010 states that CN zoning may be appropriate for new construction where a mixture of business and residential use is found to conform with a comprehensive plan and any master plan. Permitted uses, again, single family, two family, multifamily dwellings, as well as business and professional offices, excluding things like medical offices and such. The development scale fits much more with this piece of property that we're talking about today. You have smaller lots, lower building heights, and much more modest land coverage than what the I-1 designation allows for or requires. And again, this is the same map, but I wanted to bring it back up so the court could see where it is, how it sits as that buffer, how it could be used, again, in full conformance with the master plan. So the compatibility benefits in our request for this zoning change from I1 to CN creates a natural transition zone between residential and heavier industries. The neighborhood scale, should it ever go into a business, it would be low impact. We're talking law, accounting, real estate offices. We're not putting fast food restaurants with drive-throughs or anything like that in there. It would be much more lower traffic. And clearly much lower traffic as opposed to heavy industry or anything else that might be put in under an I-1 designation. It creates for the flexibility, which we've talked about a lot here today. And frankly, it improves the property values compared to industrial zones. Magistrate Hawkins, these are a couple of examples of what my clients intend to put on to the property. The home to the left is one that has been built. What is the address for that one? The one on the left was built at 800 Monroe Street by my clients. The drawing on the right, again, very similar, looking at 1,200 to 1,400 square feet houses, single family. The difference between the one that has been built on the left and the proposed ones on the right is you'll see the one on the right does have an attached garage on it as well. But these are a couple of examples of what they intend to put on the properties if approved. This request aligns with Oldham County's goals. The ordinance intent is to ensure the most appropriate use of lands and structures throughout the county and to avoid undue land use conflicts. CN zoning is explicitly recognized as appropriate where a mixture of business and residential use is found to conform with the comprehensive plan. And the request to go to CN, it matches the planned orderly growth that planning and zoning and this court requires by protecting the surrounding residents from incompatible industrial activities. In closing, CN zoning is a common sense solution for this vacant property. It allows homes or neighborhood serving offices. It maintains a residential character, which I think is important in this part of the area just east of downtown. It offers economic flexibility. And again, if we look at this property as a buffer, it does provide a buffer zone between residential and industrial uses. As a result, in closing, we respectfully request that the court look at our request and approve the rezoning of this vacant land to CN commercial neighborhood for the highest and best use of this property. Thank you.
All right, thank you. At this point, do we still have one who would have no opposition here to speak to it? All right. I don't think you summarized your points sufficiently, so I'm going to close the hearing, go to the court, and see Magistrate Hawkins.
Thank you for the presentation.
Yes, ma'am.
It was very thorough, and I appreciate that. And the applicant and you have suggested 2 single-family homes on the property. Since we don't have a building plan that we're seeing today, but you've stated that was the intention, yes. And you've stated to staff that was the intention, would you be agreeable to a binding element that states that there will be a maximum of 2 single-family units on the property?
What now?
Yes.
Okay. When there's a motion made, I'd like to have that as a 6th binding element, please. Thank you. That's all I have.
So let's we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. We've got an ordinance relating to a change in Oldham County zoning map, rezoning a half-acre tract of land located at 706 Jericho Road, LaGrange, from the existing I-1 Light Industrial District to CN Commercial Neighborhood District zoning classification. Is there a motion to approve this change?
Judge, I would like to move that we move to recommend, that we do approve the zoning map amendment request from I-1 to CN zoning because it does comply with LU 1-1, LU 1-3, and LU 2-1. And I would like to also incorporate with that the 5 binding elements that the zoning commission recommended to us. Do you want me to read those, or do you want to?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Binding element number 1 was the approval applies only to the plan presented at the September 23rd, 2025 Oldham County Planning Commission public hearing. There shall be no changes to the plan without review by the Oldham County Planning Commission and the engineer's office. The plan must comply with all established federal, state, and county ordinances and requirements and comply with all necessary easement restrictions at the time of construction plan approval. Number 4, minor plat shall be submitted and approved at staff level to create proposed tracks A and B. And number 5, there shall be a minimum 7-foot side yard setback to 650 Kidwell Lane property. And then I'd also like to incorporate Stephanie's recommended number 6, and if I'd ask her to restate that for the record, if we could.
Property shall have a maximum of 2 single-family units.
And I would incorporate that in my motion.
You want us to have to say single-family units, and the reason I say that is, does that hinder them from putting in, if they decide to make it a real estate office or an attorney's office? You're saying single-family.
Well, they've stated that their intention is to have a maximum of 2 single-family units, and that'll come in to the staff's office for the plan. And then to have, instead of,
Let me just say 2 units.
like 2 storage units?
No, just say, or 2
Building units.
building units. I mean, I guess I would have to ask Ryan to,
Is the hang-up the word that residential that she's using? It should just say 2 singles.
Yeah, that's what I said,
buildings
maximum of
instead
2.
2 residential.
well,
Maximum of 2
that's right.
single-family units, which has been in all over the presentation here and at Planning Commission.
So the very first binding element that we have on all of our hearings says it only applies to the plans presented at the Planning Commission hearing on whatever date that was. So his plans that they presented at the Planning Commission hearing were for 2 single-family dwellings on a lot. So if that differs from that, if they decide they want to do 3 somehow, we want to do 3 tiny homes, it has to come back to the Planning Commission. So I think you get redundant if you put another binding element that is pretty much the same as the first one. It only applies to the plans that were presented. The plans that he showed on the site were for 2 single-family homes on that lot. So that covers that one in my mind.
So were those plans that were showed? Because, as my understanding, those weren't plans that were shown. Those were
that's what the drawing is.
examples of,
So this is the elevation drawings. But then
You got the original, this
Where
one
is
here. That one, yep.
this is what was approved at the Planning Commission hearing. So that's 2 single-family homes with driveways. And the first binding element reads, only applies to the plans presented at that day's hearing.
what is the height on those? Are they the exact, from what you just showed us, where you had the little house on the left and the drawings on the right?
Do you know the height?
I don't know the exact height off the top of my head.
Again, what we have here, what we wanted to bring, because we didn't have final plans, again, because we hadn't received approval to, break the properties and so forth. This is the plan, but these are not actually what has been designed for the property in question.
Judge?
So without a plan, how do you know that it will fit into the blueprints that you had earlier without having a plan? Those, right? You're just saying that it's...
They will,
It'll fit in that square.
It'll fit, yeah. I mean, the plan, the way, based on the conversation with the surveyor and the architect, the survey was drawn to ensure that once a driveway is put in on each, that there, and to allow for the setbacks, that there is room there for these properties to be able to be built without infringing on any other setback requirements or anything else.
Okay.
Judge.
I feel like we were talking around each other. I apologize.
No, you're fine. So the planning commission when they approved it to come to this body, they approved it with those two plats right there. Okay. I'm okay with that.
Great.
Thank you for the clarification.
Magistrate Jeffries.
Yes, hearing that, I would ask that we remove that number 6 binding element that Magistrate Hawkins brought forward, and we just consider the 5 binding elements that were approved by the Planning Commission.
Do we have a second?
I did, and I'm okay with the change.
Magistrate Tice.
I have a question, and you may have already said something. The front piece of property that is on Jericho Road,
Yes, sir.
is that the front of the building?
No, it'll be the side.
That'll be the side. So you're going to place that unit, both units will be facing Kidwell Lane then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, does that, and I guess the reason is all the other houses down there that I'm familiar with, they all face Jericho Road. And I find it odd that that piece of property doesn't face Jericho Road and your client's got his hand up. So,
Sir, you probably have to swear in.
Yep. You swear to tell the truth, the entire truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
State your name and address, please.
Stephen Lexo, 1810 Esker Loop. On the properties to the far right, more aligned with Jericho Road, I think the main goal is to have the front door facing Jericho Road and then the driveway be on Kidwell. But with the front door being faced towards Jericho, it aligns with all the other properties and it looks more uniform.
unless I'm hearing wrong, that's contrary to what you just said.
I completely misspoke.
Okay. Now, then the setback, if Lot 1 near Jericho Road, then you're going to have the front of that structure facing Jericho Road with a sidewalk or some way around to the front of the house. And then the side will be facing Jericho Road. Not Jericho Road, but Kidwell Lane. I'm
Yes,
sorry, I
sir.
misspoke, my fault.
Yes, sir.
And that still fits, that fits in the plan, never has been in
Yes,
the
sir.
check.
That's kind of always been the plan. That was miscommunication between us.
And your setbacks are in consistency with everything else.
Yes, sir.
I'm not
Just to be
sure all of
uniform.
that's consistent down Jericho Road anyway, so that's fine. Now, the second house back, then that will face Kidwell Lane. Am I correct on that? And you're going to take down that structure that you were talking about, and that has your front there. Thank you.
That's correct.
Magistrate Woosley.
Mr. Sawyer, the sample house you said was 800 Monroe Street. Is that the Monroe Street in LaGrange?
It is.
Okay. During the minutes of the finding for the planning and zoning, LaGrange Utilities asked that there be an easement between, Tract A needs the easement through Tract B for sewer. Is that something that we need to put into a binding element? Mr. Fisher, I'm looking for you.
I think it's already on the plan, yeah. I believe that's what's in the rear of the property, if you don't mind.
That line there, I
Gonna-
couldn't tell what that was.
And also, they will have to go through the minor plat process, and Scott is one of the people that will be contacted through the minor plat process. So, I mean, that will be verified through the minor plat process, and an easement agreement will be filed in the deed room.
Okay. The second question was also in those same findings. KYTC requested there be no access to Jericho Road from this property. Does that need to be in a binding element?
No. because it's not the plan presented at the planning commission meeting. They would have to completely change their plan to do access off of, or an encroachment off of Jericho Road, and that's not the plan they presented today.
Make sure it was just, again, if we look at the plan, that both of those questions were addressed between TRC and planning and zoning. So this is the sewer easement, and then if this is Kidwell, we have driveway A and driveway B here, neither of which, of course, are on Jericho.
Just wanted to mention those because they were listed in the findings.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Magistrate Dye.
You gave a good review here, but I don't see anything about the house. How do I know that house isn't going to be concrete block? You showed me a picture, but that don't mean anything.
No, that's a good question, and it goes back to Magistrate Hawkins's questions as well as to what it's going to look like. What I can tell you is that my clients have built already on Monroe Street, the structure there to the left that's on your screen now. That is very similar to what their thoughts are going to be for what the houses here will look like.
Okay, does he have a prescribed CCR to go along with the property? I've got the CCR, Cusbury, and I can't think of the last part of it. Okay.
Again, I hate to sound like a broken record and reiterate what I told to Ms. Hawkins, but, or excuse me, Magistrate Hawkins, but we were wanting to hopefully get through this process and get this approval before they invested in the formal.
I'm not trying to gum up the works here. You are going to have some CCRs attached to this file, so we got to have some idea what it's going to be built. I mean, telling me it's going to look like
Are you talking
that,
about construction?
I don't doubt.
Construction plans? Is that what you're referencing, or like deed restrictions? CCRs is in like deed restrictions or construction?
Deed
Okay,
restrictions.
so we don't deal with deed restrictions ourselves. We're just planning and zoning,
I
and
know
and then construction plans are submitted at a later time.
Let's go off a little bit what he said. So most of the time when we're dealing with things in planning and zoning, individuals don't want to go ahead and go through with hiring somebody to do all these drawings if they don't. So this is typical at this stage of the process to say, this is kind of our concept of what we want to do. I will say this, is that we don't have any currently in the county, any sort of architectural restrictions on anything. So if they chose to build a block home there and it was compliant with building code, they could do that. We don't have any architectural restrictions, especially on Jericho Road. It's not in a historic district, anything like that, that would require they build a certain way. And typically on a single lot, you're not going to see something that has a CCR on that. You're going to see a CCR in a neighborhood. Norton Commons Hamlet is going to have CCRs so that it looks a certain way. On a single lot, that's not something you're typically going to see. But as long as is what they build and when they come in to pull a building permit, that's compliant with the building code, they're going to get a permit for it.
Right.
I know that's probably not what you want me to tell you, but
Right, I understand. Yeah, I expected you to tell me that. So in other words, he might be building that, but it might be concrete block.
could be, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is this intended to be a house for sale or a rental house?
Rental house.
Rental house. I hesitate to say what I'm going to say, but I don't want to offend anybody in this room or anybody in this county. But frankly, I think that house could be a little more attractive. I don't think it raises the bar in the neighborhood. I think it actually pushes the bar down. And that one little step going up to the front porch, and can't you come up with a better design for that house than that? I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to be insulting to you. I know people need housing, but, this is right in our, I mean, I think you could put some design on that would make that look a little better, frankly. Okay, go ahead. You can come up and speak if you want to.
On that property, 800 Monroe Street, the house prior to that was a cottage of about maybe 400 square feet. So we tore that down completely and rebuilt this 1,200 square foot home. Our goal for the 706 Jericho is to complement the houses around it too. We want to improve the value of it. So this is just a picture of what we built on Monroe Street. It's not exactly what we'll be doing on 706 Jericho Road.
Right. Okay, well, I realize building anything's expensive.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, And, people build something, they put sky-high rent on it, and put the squeeze on people who can't afford to buy their own home. I'm not saying you're doing that, but we have to try to raise the bar in our community, make things attractive, and not,
Definitely.
And I'm not trying to be critical of it. I've lived in affordable housing for the last 45 years, or maybe longer. So I'm not throwing any stones, but, try hard to, put something on it that when people drive by, are proud to pull into the driveway and not just surviving.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Vote.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor, motion and a second on the floor. Any further comments? Just for all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right.
Judge.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda here is the first reading of a proposed ordinance, KLC 25-910520. That's item D, extending the moratorium on the data center. We now have a 150-day moratorium in place. We're going to need to extend that moratorium because the Planning Commission has not sent the proposed ordinance regulating data centers to the Fiscal Court. I don't expect us to take this up actually until January. So we have here now the first reading of an ordinance amending KOC 25-910508, imposing a moratorium on the acceptance, processing, and approval of applications for the development or expansion of data centers of any size, all private utilities, all private utility buildings, and all data storage facilities within the jurisdiction of Oldham County Fiscal Court until the data center regulations have been approved by the legislative body. So this is the first reading of this. We'll take this up again on the 18th of this month, and at that point, I believe the attitude here is that we are going to keep the moratorium in effect until the data center regulations have been approved by the fiscal court. All right, thank you very much. Magistrate Hawkins.
Would it be appropriate to have Ryan come up and talk about that at all, or do you think that was sufficient? Or?
We generally would do that. I guess we could at the second reading, but I think we're okay here for this for now. Okay.
Not appropriate.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Now we have government structure and continuity of government resolution 1-1104-25. Zach Wilt. Did I skip something? Pardon? All right, I have a non-revised.
You skip Stewart Lane.
All right. Yeah, we've got a request for a break here. Okay, and then we'll come back and we'll take up the Stewart Lane property. My agenda had not been revised to that point. So, all right, let's take a 10-minute break and come back at 3:30. The next item on the agenda under contracts and resolutions, item E, Stewart Lane Property Purchase Agreement. I'm going to make a few remarks about this here, and then we'll go forward. Today, I'm asking the Fiscal Court to take a significant step toward protecting one of the county's most scenic and ecologically valuable areas by authorizing the signing of an agreement to purchase approximately 225 acres of land along a 1.5 mile stretch of Harrods Creek near Buckner. The property will be preserved as a public conservation and recreation area, ensuring that this unique landscape remains undeveloped, open, and accessible for future generations. Because the Stewart family, who owns the property, is a community-minded family and would greatly prefer a park over residential development, they've agreed to make a substantial contribution to the community by accepting a very sizable discount from the advertised price of $5.4 million. The negotiated agreement I'm proposing is $3.7 million, and that includes naming the park Stewart Park. The land includes mature forest, open meadows, creek access, and existing trails that will provide residents with opportunities for hiking, fishing, picnicking, and nature observation. The property is also accompanied by environmental and conservation benefits, ensuring public ownership and long-term protection of a large wooded property, a valuable waterway, and wildlife habitats from residential and commercial development. Conserving land along Harrods Creek filters runoff, reduces erosion, improving local and downstream water quality. Large tracts of forest also absorb carbon dioxide, reduce heat island effects, and improve air quality. Protecting 225 acres creates a continuous habitat for plants and wildlife and maintaining ecological balance. Once opened, the park will become the only publicly owned access point to Harrods Creek within Oldham County. This purchase reflects the values of our forthcoming comprehensive plan and reinforces our commitment to balancing growth with preservation. The acquisition also advances our long-term goals of managing growth responsibly, enhancing quality of life, and expanding recreational opportunities for residents of all ages. The property is an investment that will continue to make Oldham County special, conserving the environment, promoting health, community connection, and pride in our natural heritage. It'll do so for the next 100 years and beyond. So I'm asking today that there be a motion that we purchase this property for $3.7 million and name the property Stewart Park. And I will make that motion and ask for a second.
I'll second that.
All right. Discussion.
Judge?
Magistrate Jeffries.
Yes, sir. I'm real excited and will support this motion. I think this is a great opportunity for Oldham County. I farmed most of my life or whatever all over Oldham County, and I think that protecting that Harrods Creek watershed is very important. I served 39 years on the Oldham County Conservation District. I've also served on the state Conservation District and also nationally on Conservation District. So I think that, this will go a long way to help protect. It's kind of the center part of the county here. It provides access to Harrods Creek, which I think will be very beneficial for future generations or whatever to kind of protect that watershed down through there. So I wholeheartedly support this contract that's being proposed here for the $3.7 million, and also that I want to publicly thank the Stewart family for coming forward with this. And I think I think there's a lot of things that can be done with this property moving forward, and I think this is a very positive first step.
Did you second that?
I did. Yeah, Kevin did.
Yeah, Magistrate Woosley seconded. All right, thank you. Magistrate Woosley.
As Parks Chairman, I want to say that the Parks Committee is looking forward to obtaining this property and developing it into something that I think Oldham County is going to be proud of for many years, and it's going to be my privilege to support this today.
Manager Hounds.
Thank you, Judge. I agree that we need to purchase this. I think that there's been a lot of purchases that have been made by the fiscal court over the years that no one, including myself, understood at the time. And this building being one of them, I don't know where we would be if we didn't have this building. We don't have it full all the time, but we do have it full some of the time. And I think that when we look at the park system, we don't have a park like this that has defined trails, although we talked with a gentleman today, and I think that others would agree we have some work to do on those trails because of the other parcels of property that have been sold. But I think it gives a great opportunity for other outdoor activities to be done at this property that we don't have a piece of property today that the public can use for such outdoor activities.
Thank you. Manager Tice.
I feel that as one of the magistrates who will be voting against this, or maybe the only magistrate that will be voting against this, I personally don't feel that this property will satisfy the needs and all of this description that the judge has said. We exist in a society where majority rules, so whichever way it goes, I will try to support that and make the best I can. But it's hard for me to sit here and not say something because my position, I don't want to feel like the community doesn't think that I don't care and about this or care about the community. So I want to say that, I think, to the fairness of those magistrates of us who may or vote against it. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Manager Likens.
Thank you, Judge. Could you maybe inform us on how we're going to pay for this? Maybe that will enlighten some people, what the payment terms were.
No, it's a lump sum purchase.
A lump sum purchase.
Right.
And we have the money in our...
Yes.
To do that. I, for one, have wrestled with this. I went back and forth, truly. It's a seesaw, but I remember an old quote, I think was from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, who said, "It takes a wise man to plant a tree under whose shade he knows he will never sit." 500 years from now, when we're playing golf upstairs somewhere, hopefully, those people won't remember my name from Adam, but they'll know that somebody thought enough about the future generations to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No.
Manager Hawkins.
I wanted to echo, as the Parks Committee is Magistrate Woosley, Magistrate Tice, myself, and I wanted to echo Magistrate Tice's sentiment. I'm all about parks, about conservation, for a few reasons. A couple being that it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of money. We all just got our tax bills. Most of the revenue comes on the back of homeowners in this county. There are a few other reasons. I'm going to vote against this today. However, I am all about conservation and parks, quality of life, keeping the county special. Those are things that I have ran on, and I continue down that. However, this particular piece of land is not something I'm going to support today for the reasons Magistrate Tice stated, as well as some other reasons that I've talked to some of you about. But if you'd like to know more, you can call me or email me personally. So those are my thoughts on this. Thank you.
Manager Logston.
Yes, Judge. I am also going to not vote on this, not because I don't care about Oldham County, not because I don't care about saving the ground. To me, I think the biggest part of this problem is I think it's too much money. I understand the county cannot buy something unless it appraises for it, but thank you, Mark, for taking us around the other day. There's really only about 70 acres that you could really use for any kind of park structures or anything else. My problem is you've got 3 houses that are sitting in the middle of this park. That's going to be an issue, I think, eventually in the long run. I've talked to tons of constituents in my district, and to be honest, they're split. Some people say, hey, y'all are going to waste millions of dollars on this, and other people say it's the greatest thing that can ever happen. So I get that. I have a responsibility to my constituents not to overpay for something, and I do not think that this place is worth. It's been for sale for years and years and years. I think it's overpriced for what we're paying for it. Again, you have an appraisal on it, so that's just my opinion. There's only about 70 acres that you can use. We have Morgan Conservation Park where the trails are just, I've been told, or you can't hardly walk up them because they're in valleys, and I don't. What's going to be the difference between Morgan and this place? And you have another park, Wendell Moore Park, right up the street. That on the same street you got 2 parks. To me, rounded off 3.7, 4 million, whatever you want to use. The number could be used other places in the county for our police, roads, different things that we could be using that money for. And I've looked, you can go X-Hunt, and I looked on all the people that own land on Harrods Creek. I'd say probably as of right now, 80% of Harrods Creek will never be developed because of the people who own it. So to me, I think I know this is going to pass, so I welcome it. But in my own judgment, I just think it's too much money to be paying for it. And that's where I stand with this.
Manager Dye.
I'm going to go along with what the other people have talked about. I'm not going to support this for a varied reasons, some that you've already heard, and I'm going to add a few. My voice gives out. It's going to reduce our reserve. I'm going to estimate somewhere around the 10% figure. Okay? When I first was elected magistrate, anybody can doubt this word if they want, I think we had about 8 million. And I cannot quote the exact number today, but I've heard that the reserve is as high as 30 million. Now so it's about 10%, maybe a little bit more. The thing that bothered me most about it is this came just out of the wind, and now I'm here today. That's been for sale for years. This is a blank sheet of paper, and that's exactly represents the plan for this property. There's no plan. It'll just kind of, it'll be worked out in a similar fashion that when the purchase for the Oldham Reserve property. There's going to be too many people up here that's going to have too many different ideas of how to do it. I heard some people say they were going to be there, supportive, they're going to be gung-ho and all of that. Well, if it does pass, I'm going to expect to see those people because this project is not something that these 8 people up here can ramrod. I'm sorry, it's just not possible. It's too much money to try to. I personally see in the future, and I'm not I don't look into a crystal ball. I believe the next thing will come up will be a parking lot. And the next thing after that will be building the roads up to the private properties. And along with that, probably trying to buy the private properties and consolidate all the land into one geographic piece. So I think if this hadn't came up, everybody would still be, happy. I can't believe anybody would say anything bad about buying ground for a park. We've got parks now that need work. Morgan Conservation is one of them, and all I heard was, we got it for free and no one's ever liked it. Well, why'd you take it? So there's other parks that need work. Briar Hill needs work. But every time I bring up, that's in my district, I'm a little selfish about that. Every time I bring up some of the problems, it's right there next to Jefferson County. The Jefferson County people are using it. So I can't vote for it because there's no plan of action. When I was on the jail committee back in my first term, we went to great lengths. We took field trips to see what other places, how they did things, how we did not want to make their mistakes. As far as I know, we've not contacted anybody of a professional level that could say, these are some of the ideas of what you could do. We were asked to go see the park. Some of us went. I didn't go because next thing I know, I saw it on, someone sent me a thing from social media. Well, the deal was already cut. Why should I go look at it now? So that's just, I just feel like that, and I think that it will become a tax burden. And like I say, I've just got my tax bills, and between the insurance company and the 10% premium tax, and in fact, my property went up twice last year. So, I'm not trying to grind any axes, and no one in my district has called me about this pro or con. So that's my last word on it. Thank you.
I'm not going to try to refute what was said here. I will say that since the information was made public here a couple of weeks ago about this, I believe if you can go by, Facebook reaction, I think hundreds of people have said they favor this purchase. Want environmental controls in Oldham County. I think it's sad that the chairman of our environmental committee votes against the biggest environmental project this county has tried to initiate in the last 7 or 8 years, or maybe beyond. But that being what it is, I think the other magistrates are being short-sighted. As far as I'm concerned, they're casting a vote for residential development along Harrods Creek because that's the alternative. It's not the Stewart family sitting on this. It's a residential development along Harrods Creek. I heard one magistrate say, well, most of Harrods Creek is closed off already. Yes, it's privately owned by people who don't want other people walking on their property. I agree with that. But I think this is public access to a point that people can enjoy. There are ecological advantages, there are environmental advantages, there are recreational advantages. It's all a plus. I don't want to put Mr. Clark on the spot, but I heard Mr. Magistrate Dye said he thought this would take 10% of our reserve. I think it's considerably less than that. Am I correct on that? About 5% maybe, or less? Do you have any idea off the top of your head, Stan? I don't know. Pardon? 7. All right, it's not 10. I heard someone mention the insurance premium tax. Our insurance premium tax is 10%. The county has benefited greatly from insurance premium tax since it was passed in 2007. It exceeds property tax in our county because many people have moved here. They have items that are subject to the insurance premium tax. No one on the court has brought up a recommendation to reduce the insurance premium tax. I hear it thrown out today. We almost can't reduce it because the cities when it was 5% at one time, was raised to 10, then all the cities went up to 10% too. And so it's hard to go backward on these things, I agree. But I think we've been very fiscally conservative here while moving forward. There has not been a tax increase by Oldham County Fiscal Court since 2007. It's 18 years we've managed on the revenue that's come in here. There have actually been at least 2 and maybe 3 reductions in the fiscal court tax. Tax goes up because property is reevaluated. Everybody wants their property to be worth more if you sell it. You certainly don't want to sell it for the price you paid for it if you can avoid it. You want to sell it for the current market value. Well, the market value keeps pushing things up. That's not certainly not our fault, but there have been no tax increases from the fiscal court since 2007. We have lived within our means, and we have built a detention center, yes. I think we spent 20-some million on that, as I recall, and it was calibrated and looked at very closely as we did it. And right now, the thing is paying for itself. Where previously, when we had our jail across the street, we were losing $700,000-800,000 a year. We couldn't collect enough fees from those incarcerated to pay for the staff. You had to have staff around the clock, men and women, and so forth. So right now, we're at break even or better. So that's what we've done for the county. The jail's been a success in that regard. Not everybody likes who's in it, but that's not our problem. But I do think that this is a development for the long term of our county. Yes, we've only really considered this for the last 6, 7, 8 weeks. Please don't hold me to the exact number because time is fungible in my head, I guess. But it hadn't been very long, and it was the whole price of this property was $7 million or more at one time. We wouldn't have considered that. It dropped down to a lesser amount, 5.4, after some of the housing properties in the park were near the adjacent park were sold. But one gentleman, Mr. Warren, came here this afternoon, said he's enthused about it. He's a principal person. He's the person that's right in that lane who wants us there and is excited about working with us and helping maintain that park and keep it up. So I appreciate what he's had to say. So this is a long-term investment for the future. Everything that's done, may have a debatable aspect to it. I respect everybody who has a different point of view on our court. We're not clones here. We all see things differently, but the long term, and I believe our county's asking for this type of circumstance right now. I mean, people are concerned about residential development across the county, more traffic, more of everything. This is a park or this is a residential area, and there's other areas near this area that could be expanded for residents as well. So, and it's right, we may not be done. We're going to have to spend probably a little more money. We're going to get it surveyed, and we're going to do some other things. We'll make some plans, but it's good as it sits right now, and it's going to be better as we go forward in the future. So let's all work together. And I heard Magistrate Tice say he's going to vote negative, but he'll support it, and he's been good at accepting the judgment of the group and supporting things in the past like that he didn't necessarily agree on the day it was done, but he's been good at coming along and supporting things. And others have too, so don't want to undercut any of my fellow fiscal court members here. But
Judge?
we need to do this, okay?
I take exception to some of the things you've said. I grew up in this county. I was born in this county. I was born in LaGrange. Voting against this is not voting for a residential subdivision. I take exception. I
What do you
grew up
think's
on
gonna happen
farms
there?
working here. I'm voting against this because I don't think the property is worth what we're paying for it. And I have a responsibility to my constituents that are in my district not to overspend their tax dollars. There's 70 acres up on top that we'll be able to put stuff in, buildings and stuff like that. The rest of the is downhill. You can't even hardly get to the creek. There's 2 spots to the creek, 3 spots you couldn't even get down. 2 spots to get to the creek. The property's going to need a lot of work. I'm not voting for this, not because I'm voting for it because of the money that's going to have to be spent. And I truly believe there's already houses that are on there. When we went up there the other day, somebody was going to have a wedding and you couldn't even go back around that one where the venue is. So there's going to be problems with it. I have nothing against conservation. I grew up working on farms all over this county. Has nothing to do with the farms. It has to do with being responsible for what I think the taxpayers' money needs to be spent on.
I accept your point of view. My only rebuttal is that the price we're paying is below the appraised price by a professional, appraisal company, and that the appraisal said that the highest and best use for the property was residential development. So I'm just repeating what was in the appraisals.
It's on a hillside and sinkholes, except for maybe 70 acres.
Okay. Magistrate Hawkins?
I just wanted to have an opportunity to rebut, because you'd mentioned the chair of the environmental committee voting against this. And so the opportunity to speak on that is that, in my opinion, it's less about the environmental and more about some of the other things we talked about. And I also feel like it shouldn't have been put out in the public, because that also feels like a strong arm attempt to get the rest of the fiscal court members to vote accordingly when it's put out in public that the fiscal court is intending to move forward with purchasing this property. And when I'm stronghold, or there's a feeling of being stronghold to vote a certain way, that's when I look in the camera and vote the exact opposite. So putting that out in public preemptively was not the right move, in my opinion.
Okay. We can disagree on that. I thought the public needed to know that this purchase was under consideration. So it gave everybody who had an interest in it an opportunity to vote or make their feelings known, positively or negatively. As I said, my judgment is, and I believe yours as well, actually, the overwhelming number of people that responded were in favor of it. So, Magistrate Woosley.
Judge, a healthy community like Oldham County brags to be the healthiest community in the state has lots of outdoor opportunities for their citizens. The way our parks are set up, somebody mentioned that we've got a park right up the road. It's a different kind of park than what's envisioned on Stewart Park. We do have a blank sheet of paper to start out with because, A, we couldn't spend money on a plan on property we didn't own. So we got to own the property before then we can make the investment on doing a plan for it. My next comment is we're not a bank. We're not here to hold citizens' tax monies forever. We've got 40 million or whatever in the bank. Our job is to either spend that money or give it back to the citizens. And if we can't spend it on infrastructure and parks, then we don't need to be collecting it in the first place. Again, I'm disappointed that I'm one out of the 3 members on the parks that are going to support this. But I think in the long run, this is going to be a great plan for the county and a great addition to our parks.
Okay. Thank you. All right, I think we've
Found a lot of stuff to spend the money on.
Okay. I think we've pretty well aired this out. We're probably reaching the point of diminishing returns on discussion. We've got a motion second on the floor. Holly, will you call the roll?
Magistrate Jeffries,
Yes.
Magistrate Woosley,
Yes.
Magistrate Hounds,
Yes.
Magistrate Likens,
Yes.
Magistrate Logsdon, Magistrate Hawkins,
Nay.
Magistrate Tice,
No.
Magistrate Dye,
No.
and Judge Vogel.
Yes. Motion carries 5-4. Thank you. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is government structure and continuity of government resolution. This is Resolution 1-1104-25. Zach Wilt.
Good afternoon, Judge, Magistrates. Today I'm asking for your signature on an updated resolution for the government structure and continuity. This is just an updated version of what we have on the books. The few changes we made, we took out personnel names and added titles. That just prevents us having to update this plan when people either leave the position or move. And that's the number one update, or the update we've done. We did go through Public Safety Committee meeting this morning. There was 2 additions to the copies you guys have. And I'll say that here, and then we can go from there. The one position under government structure was to add the Director of Administrative Operations, just under Deputy Judge. So we're going to add that. And on page 6, for the line of succession for the Judge Executive's office was to put back the magistrate names and not use most senior.
And add the 8th one back in, right?
Say again, I'm sorry.
And add number 8 back in there because you only had 7 listed.
So under KRS, it only allows up to 7. 39D.04, it's no fewer than 3 and no more than 7. So we had to take one off.
Sorry, Kevin.
Sorry, yeah.
Darn.
And same with the essential departments, no fewer than 3 also, so that was updated. We had a 2 on a few, so we did all 3.
Judge, I want to make a comment. Zach and I talked about this, and it says most senior magistrate, and so we're clear as to who that was. It was my suggestion that we put the names back in there, only because I don't think that Stephanie and I are going to fight, and I don't think that anybody else is going to, if this hits the fan, I don't think anybody's going to be fighting for that number 1 position. We're going to give it to Magistrate Tice, but to me, it makes sense to put the names in there so we know what they are. The reason for that, if you look at the other ones above, like we talked about the police and that, like Zach talked about, with removing the names and puts positions, we don't walk around saying that I'm the 3rd most senior magistrate, or I'm the 5th most senior magistrate. There are titles for those police. There is a major of operations. There's a major of administration. We don't walk around saying I'm the 3rd most senior magistrate. That's not on my title anywhere.
Right.
I think I'm the 5th though, but whatever.
Okay. All right.
I have a question. Zach,
sir.
what was the first change you were going to make that we don't have?
Yeah.
Was to add the Director of Administrative Operations under Deputy Judge, under page 4 on the structure.
Is that going to have to be another paid position, or how are we going to do that?
Yeah, that's Bo Glass, the Director of Glass's position. We're adding
So
it to
Bo
the structure.
would-
This was created before that happened, and it slipped my mind to add it.
Okay.
So Bo's position would be added where on this, page 4?
On page 4, it'll be just under Deputy Judge and above all the essential departments we have listed.
Does that go along with state statute?
This is a county resolution, and this is just structure on how Judge Executive forms his government structure.
Well, just like you were not putting 8 magistrates because it had to follow the statute, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's 2 different things. The magistrates are the line of succession for his office, and this is just the government structure just on paper. So when disasters happens, we just know what it's supposed to look like.
What it's supposed to look like. It's a plan.
Correct.
I mean, in our world, it's a plan that you put on paper and you hope you never have
Hope
to
for the
use
best,
it.
yeah.
But if you do, you pull it out of the file cabinet and you put it on the table.
Regarding continuity of government, would this replace the continuity of government that we do generally after we all take office in a new term?
This is for disasters. So if
Okay.
the unthinkable were to happen in this building, tornado, things like that, and people were just injured or just unable to do their duty for whatever reason, this is when this would take an effect, and we would have to be under a state declaration for this to be enacted.
Gotcha.
This is not for your everyday routine stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Well, I think it is confusing as to who's who when you get to those magistrates. But if we put names in there, it's going to have to be changed.
Well, that's what we talked about earlier. Needs to be put on somebody's radar when there's a change. I mean, it's unfortunate that would have to do it. I mean, since we first got on court, it was the second term, I guess, Magistrate Jeffries came in, or Magistrate Woosley came in when Magistrate Harrison dropped out. And then, I mean, we would have had to change it anyway. But by putting the names in there, I think it makes it cleaner.
The FEMA thinking behind it is to replace names with titles so we don't have to update it. So
yeah,
I get your thinking, but at the same time too, and for judges thinking is so we don't have to update it every time, every 4 years, wherever, if something happens midterm. But that's the thinking behind what we've done here is so we don't have to come back into it.
The second most senior magistrate will make sure this is updated. So that they're not number one. I promise you that.
I see what you're saying. He'll make sure he doesn't get to the top? Yes. Understood.
Could we add an addendum to this that has our county continuity of government resolution or ordinance or whatever we did, sort of as part of this, so that you would always have it with you as that changes? Just tuck it in and add it as an addendum.
To change the plan?
No, just to have the names. So you wouldn't have to change yours, just have an addendum be the actual continuity of government.
Sure. Consulting with the county attorney, we did add on the actual resolution, it's to be further resolved that this resolution shall be reviewed by the governing body of the county annually or whenever a change in government structure or a change in personnel has occurred. I believe that covers that, where we can come in and change the magistrate positions without having to go through a full plan update. That's my understanding of what we've done there. Yeah.
That should be part of it so that you know who's who should that happen. Right? Should you need to know who's the most seniority magistrate? 1,
I see what you're saying.
2, 3, 4.
Correct. It would, whoever is in charge of that time, whoever would, if we're under declaration, it would be the judge's office in emergency management to dictate who is going to be the chief executive if our governing body was unavailable. There would be a document, we can add the names back into it to help facilitate that part, but there would be hopefully somebody around that would be able to.
There has to be an emergency declaration that has to put this into effect. So it's not like this piece of paper is going to go into effect unless there's an emergency declaration. Correct. There's got to be 4 steps.
There'd be somebody to file a declaration and also to say who is their chief executive.
There's going to be multiple steps before this document is put into existence, but you have to have the document in order to do the other steps.
So are you proposing we accept this with the names back in?
Yes, my suggestion to Zach earlier was to put the names back in and add the director of...
Bo's title?
Yeah.
And then what's the second change? You said there was 2.
Add the names and then add
magistrates and
Director Glass's title.
Add Director Glass's position.
Gotcha.
I got a question.
As second qualifying officer in line, I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution 01-11-04-25. And as number 1 ranking magistrate.
Second.
That was already second.
I got a question.
Would you state the resolution again?
Well, is that with, because you mentioned some changes that needed to be made to this, is this resolution approving the whole thing? And does he need?
That's up to, if you guys want to make the motion with those 2 changes that the public safety recommended, that is, we can, and I can submit the updated version to you for final signature.
I'll amend my motion to what he just said.
Okay, and you said to add Director of Administrative Operations, and what was the other
Yes,
one?
and that under, for government structure, and then add the magistrate names back under the line of succession for Judge Executive's office.
That was page 6, I think, yeah.
Somewhere in there, yes.
Okay. Magistrate Dye has a question, Judge.
All right, Magistrate Dye.
Curiosity. Let's say you have 8 new magistrates get elected, same day, report for service the same day. How do you decide who's senior and who's junior?
According to statute, I believe it is, if they're all on the same day, it goes by alphabetical of the last name.
That's the same way Social Security would do it, yeah. Okay, that's good. As long as we have a rule.
As a W, I'm thankful for that.
What's that?
As a W, I'm thankful for that.
I thought everybody wanted this job. Except when we're not having an emergency, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Running.
No one wants an emergency.
Okay, so I think we've got a motion on the floor to accept the changes and add in the names at this point.
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Next item is FEMA designation agent, resolution 0211-4-25. Zach, go ahead.
Yes, sir. This is a form that is given to me by KYEM. This allows me to act on behalf of the county to continue our public assistance process. So as a lot of you may know, we were federally declared back in April for the flooding we had. We have been working pretty much weekly on that process of getting paid back or getting our money back from the disaster work we did with FEMA. So this document allows whoever's name you want to put on it to act on behalf of the government to continue those discussions in this process with FEMA and state emergency management. Emailing back with Stan, he did recommend, he said either my name, Pat's, or Stan's is fine. And he did recommend me since I am daily working with FEMA agents right now.
Judge?
Magistrate Jeffries.
Yes, I'll move that we allow you to sign the FEMA designation of agent, Resolution 20-11-04-25. I'm sorry. Is it
02-11-04-25.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, 02. Mine said 04, but okay.
You need to put a name in there too.
Zach Wilt.
Second.
All right. Moved and seconded that Zach Wilt be the designated FEMA interface here. Magistrate Hawkins.
It does say FEMA in here. Is this one where you'll need a notary or anything like that?
Not that I've been told, no. It's just the
Okay.
judge's signature.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now we've got, what do we have here next? We have FEMA Public Assistance Grant. Zach.
Yes, this is another contract from FEMA down to the state. So this contract allows the FEMA to send money to the state, and then the state will distribute it to the counties. I was rightfully asked about the $300 million. That is a statewide. That is what Kentucky's getting. We will get approximately 100 to maybe 200,000 of that. It's still up in the air. We're still working through it. But this just allows the state to work on our behalf with FEMA to get the money to the local counties.
Judge, I'll make the motion that we approve the, sorry, trying to get back to the number here. The FEMA Public Assistance Grant.
Second.
Second? Somebody second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on this?
Judge, I just...
Magistrate Jeffries?
Yeah, I was looking over this last night or whatever, and I kept looking to see how many zeros was there. I saw the 300 million. I thought, wow, we could do a lot with that if we came to Oldham County. But Zach set me straight this morning. So,
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Now we're at item I, and that's foreclosure of property located at 8325 West Highway 22. And is Adam Bayer here? Yes, he is. All right. Adam, what do you have?
Good evening, Magistrate and Judge Vogel. So I'm here today requesting Oldham County Fiscal Court to approve the foreclosure of a property located at 8325 West Highway 22 to satisfy a code enforcement lien placed on the property. I've got a short video here. Give me just a second.
in my district. That's the third one I can tear down.
So this is regarding the property located at 8325 West Highway 22. The owner on record of the property is Eugene Ashcraft. He resided at 8325 West Highway 22 in Crestwood, Kentucky. This is the general location of where the house is. There is a house located on the property. It's right here in the blue. It's at the corner of Geneva and West Highway 22, kind of across the Lake Louisville area. So I did receive a petition for a dilapidated structure signed by several of the neighbors. Our office received that in December of 2023. So a little bit of history on the property. Oldham County Code Enforcement received several complaints on the property beginning in December of 2023. I did issue a courtesy letter to the owner on record in December of 23. Come to find out, the owner of the property is deceased approximately in 2018. Attempts to locate and work with relatives to bring the property into compliance was unsuccessful, and I was able to locate one of his relatives, Amos Ashcraft, who did make some attempts at bringing the property into compliance. That would have been back in the beginning of 24. There was a citation number 762 issued on the property May the 13th of 2024, and that citation was presented to the Oldham County Code Board in June of 2024. So here's a few pictures of the property that I took when I first received the complaint. This was taken in December of 2023, December the 18th. The picture to the left is the front of the property standing on Highway 22. The picture to the right is the back of the property towards Geneva Drive, going up the driveway to the property. As you can see, the property is very run down. There were several vehicles on the property, along with the property was overgrown, a lot of trash and everything else piled up. So this is a picture taken in May of 24, May the 7th. Again, the picture on the left is the front of the property, and the picture of the right is the back side of the property. That is when I did issue the citation, the first citation, number 762. This is a copy of that citation. The citation was posted to the door. All other letters in that citation also was mailed out to the owner on record. They were all returned to me as undeliverable. That citation did go in front of the Oldham County Code Board. This is a copy of the final order issued by the Oldham County Code Board on June the 22nd of 2024. One of the relatives, Amos, did contact me and was attempting to clean the property up and either sell or rebuild the structure. I will say, as of February the 3rd of 25, that was the last time I had any contact with him. I did work with him from June until February of 25, from June of 24 till February of 25. I had a couple conversations with him. He did go up there and mow the property once, did pick up some of the junk on the property, and removed some of the vehicles on the property. He talked to me about different ideals that he had with the property. On February the 3rd of 25 was the last time I spoke to him. At that time, it was a phone conversation. I did tell him that if he didn't begin making improvements on the property within 3 weeks, I was going to begin issuing citations on the property. So that was in February of this year. On February the 25th, I went out there. There hadn't been any improvement to the property. The picture to the left shows the front of the property. The picture of the right is the rear of the property. If you see all the lumber out in front, that is what Amos had brought to the property previously and piled up that he was going to attempt to rebuild the structure. I did issue a citation on February the 26th. This is a copy of that citation. So the fine with the first citation was $150, and I believe this citation was $250. That citation was posted to the door of the property. On March the 3rd, I once again visited the property. No improvement had taken place. The picture to the left is the front. The picture to the right is the rear of the property. I did issue citation number 796 on March the 4th. That citation was posted to the property. On March the 10th, I once again visited the property. No improvement had taken place. This is a picture to the left, the front. Picture to the right is the rear of the property. As you can see, no improvements. Citation number 799 was issued on March the 11th, and it was posted to the door on March the 11th. I did write a final order. I issued it and posted it on April the 23rd of 25. In that final order, it did state that if it was not paid by May the 5th, May the 23rd of 25, that a lien could be placed on the property. That's final order was posted to the door. On June, it was not paid. The total amount was, I think, $1,200. On June the 2nd of this year, a lien was filed on the property, filed with the Oldham County Clerk's Office. You can see that right here. So some final notes. The owner of the property, as far as I'm aware, passed away in 2018. There's been no significant progress working with any of the relatives of the deceased to bring the property into compliance. I have looked, and I do not believe there are any other liens recorded on this property. This is the current condition as of yesterday when I went out there. The picture to the left is the front of the property, and the picture to the right is the rear of the property. As you can see, there's been no improvement in well over close to a year. Even my letters are still posted on the door as of yesterday. So I'm here today asking you all to foreclose on this property to satisfy the $1,200 lien that's been placed on the property.
Where is this? Is this in Lake Louisville or what?
It's,
Where is it?
I guess you could say it's in the Lake
Across the
Louisville
street.
area, but it is across the street on
It's
Highway
Lake
22.
Louisville. It's on both sides of the street.
Yes, sir.
I had a question for Adam. If we approve this foreclosure, what happens next? Does it get sold at auction? If there's remaining money, does it go to the heirs? Or is there any discernible heirs?
I think that's a better question for Matt to answer.
So a successful foreclosure suit would result in auction on the courthouse steps, and any surplus money would be held by the commissioner's office for a certain period of time for potential distribution to heirs, but could eventually just escheat to the state.
All right. Magistrate Hawkins.
There was a lien filed on June 2nd, 2025, that was signed by you and Judge. Did that come before this body to request a signature?
No, it does not. Based off of the final order, it states that a lien can be filed if it's not paid within 30 days. So our office has the authority, from my understanding, to file the lien without coming to the board. I think Judge Vogel can sign that.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Anyone else?
Magistrate Dye.
Magistrate Dye.
County attorney, since he has found a relative, you won't have to go through a warning order process on this.
Right. So at the initiation of the foreclosure suit, if an administrator or an executor had been appointed for the estate, that person would be named as a party. And then out of abundance of caution, more than likely a warning order attorney would be appointed in addition to serving the executor or administrator. So there would be an opportunity in publication for any heirs to come forward and claim ownership and take responsibility prior to the auction.
Okay.
Measure Woosley.
Mr. Baird, do you know or have you researched to see when's the last time property taxes were paid on this property?
So I did check on that. From my understanding, there's no property tax bill on this property because of the value that the PVA has listed, and Mr. Eugene Ashcraft had the deduction. So there was no property tax other than I do believe there was a stormwater fee and a fire department fee that wasn't paid. So I think I went down to the clerk's office and there's about $600 or something or so owed on the county since 2017. But that has never been filed as a lien.
Does the motion need to say that we just foreclose on the property, or do we need to add anything else into it?
I would suggest that a motion be made to authorize a foreclosure suit.
Yes, sir.
Judge, I make a motion, we authorize a foreclosure suit at the property located at 8325 West Highway 22, Crestwood.
I'll second it.
All right, moved and seconded. Any further discussion about it? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, now we're at the job description for school crossing guard. Tina?
Good afternoon. Before you all this afternoon for approval is a draft job description for a school crossing guard. This, we're asking that this job description be added to our pay scale and that we add this position to our workforce. We've been approached by the schools for this position, to supply this position for one of their campuses. So we need a job description to go ahead and move forward on that.
Judge, I'll make the motion that we approve the job description for the crossing guard.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion? Magistrate Hawkins?
Will this be treated similarly to an SRO where there'll be reimbursement, but go through our police department?
Right. The school
Okay.
is reimbursing us for their
Thank you.
salaries and their uniforms. Mhm.
Magistrate Tice?
Are we going to be paying for the crossing guard 100%?
No, school board is.
And are they going to be paying for it at 100%?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Magistrate Dye?
Are they considered an SRO?
This is not a law enforcement position, it's a civilian
Okay,
position.
all right, that's all I needed, thank you.
Magistrate Jeffries?
Yeah, just kind of follow up a little bit. I know there's been some discussion. You know, this school board, I think, along with the chief, had talked about North Oldham requesting this or whatever. I think there is an interest with the school board to pursue additional schools. I know, 146 and 393 at Buckner, down at Crestwood, the South Oldham campus. So, folks crossing back and forth there at the site. So I think there's an interest there, and hopefully we can move, the school board is willing to move forward in doing this in multiple locations, not just at North. So I think hopefully that'll be the next step, that once we get this in place, then we can hopefully move forward, and the school board would have an interest, I think, in sitting down and trying to work through additional locations. So that's all I have, Judge.
All right, got a motion and second on the floor to approve this job description. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we have a recommendation to release Norton Commons Hamlet Section 1A, the performance surety. Jim Silliman.
Yes, Jim Silliman, Oldham County Engineer. As Judge Executive stated, the Norton Commons Hamlet Section 1A has been constructed in accordance with our Oldham County subdivision regulations and the plans that were approved by my office based on our inspection. And I'm asking the fiscal court release the performance surety in the amount of $95,577, and that was a check that was provided upon record plat.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. And Judge, this did come through a road committee with a positive recommendation to the court to release this amount.
Motion made to release the surety bond, $95,597.
$577.
$577, sorry, for the Norton Commons Hamlet Section 1A subdivision. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Associated with that same project, Norton Commons, Hamlet Section 1A, we also have the erosion control surety, which I'm asking fiscal court release that surety, which was a check in the amount of $63,083.
Make that motion.
I'll also second that, and Judge, this one also came through Road Committee with a positive recommendation to the court.
All right, motion made and seconded to return to Norton Commons $63,083 for the erosion control surety. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Moving across the county, we have the Black Wolf Inn, which is associated with Oldham County Veterinary down 53, just south of LaGrange. They have completed their current project, and we're recommending fiscal court release the bond in the amount of $45,500, and that was a letter of credit we would be releasing.
Judge, I'll move that we release the bond of $45,500 for Wolf Creek, excuse me, Black Wolf Inn.
Second.
On Highway 53 here in LaGrange.
Second.
That came through
Second.
Road Committee with a positive recommendation.
Moved and seconded that the erosion control surety for Black Wolf Inn of $45,500 be released. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Moving back to the west side of the county, Sanctuary Falls, Section 6A. Often when a project or a subdivision goes to record plat, they may not have any infrastructure constructed, but they want to go ahead and start selling lots and go to record plat. So in a case like with the Sanctuary Falls 6A, they actually posted a sizable bond to cover all the infrastructure construction. Now they've got it down to where there was only a small amount of construction remaining for that infrastructure, the final paving, some other components. So they've asked to reduce this bond. The original bond was in the amount of $825,400. They've provided a estimate that the remaining work could be covered for the amount of $75,150, and our inspection concurs with that. So I'm asking that the bond be reduced by the amount of $750,250 to that $75,150 amount.
Make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded that the performance surety bond for Sanctuary Falls, Section 6A, be reduced in the amount of $750,250.
Judge?
Yes, sir.
Question. Jim, will that cover us? I mean, that's a heck of a reduction. Are we going to be okay with just?
Yeah, because again, the
75,000?
original amount covered the installation of all the storm sewer, the base surface dense grade aggregate, your utility installations. Where now, again, they've got the curb and gutter and everything built, and just a few minor finishing touches like the final surface of asphalt and some other grading components. So yes, it should.
Judge, this one also came through Road Committee with a positive recommendation to court to reduce this bond down to $75,150.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Personnel actions, Tina.
We have a new hire at Animal Control, Eric Bear, as an Animal Control Officer at $20 an hour, effective the 17th of this month.
Judge, I'll make the motion that we hire Eric Baird, Animal Control Officer.
Second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And the second item is a contract renewal for the Police Department, Todd Maggard, and that's for the attached contract that you all have.
Judge, I'll make the motion that we renew the contract for Officer Maggard.
All right.
Second.
Second, all right. Any discussion on that? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, as far as board appointments this time, for the Stormwater District Board, I'd like to appoint Ann Michelson for Prospect for a term to expire December 1st, 2029.
Judge, I'll make the motion to approve Point Ann Michelson for Stormwater Management District Board.
Second. Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? Very experienced person. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And also to the Tourism Commission, like to appoint Deepen Laney for a term to expire on November 4th, 2028.
Also move. Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Time now for the second public comment in our meeting today. Is there anybody here who would like to address the fiscal court at this point? Okay. Sure. Well. All right. We'll welcome former Judge Mary Ellen Kinzer.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to congratulate the fiscal court on what I think was a fantastic move, approving money for the new park. To get it less than the appraisal value, great negotiation. Thank you, Judge. I'm sorry that you were offended that you didn't know beforehand. I understand that, but sometimes things move pretty fast. As far as Morgan Park goes, I think that there are certain stipulations. I know there are certain stipulations to Oldham County's Morgan Conservation Park because I wrote the grant. We were doing the negotiations. We paid top dollar for the appraisal price, but Oldham County tax dollars weren't used. It was through a charitable group called Land Conservation Group. And as far as trails and different things in Morgan Conservation Park, there were a lot of people that had ideas as to what they wanted Morgan Conservation Park to be. What they did not understand is that Morgan Conservation Park is a conservation park. It is not a horse path trail. It is not a bike trail. It is not all these other things that people probably love to have a park to go and do it in. It's not that. It is a conservation park, period. Lastly, I think that as far as the steep cliffs down to the Harrods Creek, that's where your great horned owls live. That's where your blue herons live. The sinkholes, that's where your foxes live. That's where a lot of animals live, are in those sinkholes. I know. I personally know this. I think it was a great asset to Oldham County. People always want more roads paved. They always want more of this done or more of that done. Nobody likes to pay taxes. Let's just be honest. Nobody likes to pay taxes one bit. But to do such a future forward-thinking idea and make it possible to conserve some land, I appreciate it, and I want to say thank you to the fiscal court. I really do. Thank you very much.
Mary Ellen, I hate to do this. I didn't ask you your address.
1800 Foxborough,
Okay.
The Grange.
All right. Thank you. All right.
She should run for judge. Oh, she did.
At the previous fiscal court meeting, we spoke about, and you approved a change order for the Rollington Road construction project that's currently ongoing. And I've been asked about the progress of that, so I thought now would be a good time just to update you. Currently, right now, again, what we talked about last time was that likely the end of, or this season, we would not get the final surface down on that project, the final asphalt surface, but we would get it open to traffic and then finish it up in the spring. And currently, that's the plan right now, is our contractor is looking at, they'd like to have it done before Christmas, or not Christmas, before Thanksgiving, but we're probably going to get the base asphalt down around the week after Thanksgiving, get that road open for the rest of the holidays, and then in the spring come in and do the final surface. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Judge, while he's up here, can
Yes,
I
sir.
ask him a question? What's the status on the pump station out at on Oldham property? I know they're getting that somewhat closer to being.
I would have to check back with Flynn Brothers, who's doing that construction. I know there was significant delay to that project. There were some materials and supply issues with the manholes, and it was delayed. I'll have to look into that and get you an answer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Okay.
All right, we'll state your name and address, please.
Patsy Toole, 4013 Niagara Drive, LaGrange, which is one of the reasons I'm up here. I just wanted to kindly ask that you all revisit the requirement to give the address when public speaking is, when we're up here to do that, because of mainly safety concerns to me. It's like we're here, we're giving our address, we're on YouTube Live. So that's just something that I've heard quite a few people discuss out here, and Kevin happened to bring it up today, but it certainly has been on many of our minds, and just kindly ask you to reconsider that. And that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else to address the fiscal court? All right, thank you. I guess we'll go to our final comments now for today's meeting. Magistrate Likens.
Thank you, Judge. Made it through Halloween and got my extra hours sleep this week.
All right.
Thank you very
Great.
much.
That's good.
Magistrate Tice.
Nothing, Judge.
All right. Magistrate Woosley.
Judge, I want to take a moment to honor the memory of our 48th Lieutenant Governor and our 56th Governor, our first female Governor, Martha Lane Collins, who passed away this past week, and also our 46th Vice President, Dick Cheney, who passed away this week. On October 25th, the Sheriff's Department hosted a drug take-back program. They collected 588 pounds of prescription drugs that day. And finally, recently they announced the 2025 Oldham Countyans of the Year, which is Ken and Nancy Dahlgren, and I just want to congratulate them. That's all I got, Judge.
Magistrate Jeffries.
Yes, sir. Judge, the only thing I've got, had some issues with the water line out at Crystal Lake. I know that's not in the county, but the city has been working out there to try to clear up some sediment in the supply out there, or the lines, and they are installing 8 flush valves. Well, they tried to install one yesterday, and the line burst, and so they were going to have to go back and probably shut down some water lines out there when they put those lines in. I talked to Russ Rose. There's also been some issues across Oldham County with some brown water or whatever. It's safe to drink. There's not a problem with it, but they're making some changes at the water treatment plant over at Westport. So hopefully that's going to, the combination of that and what they're doing out of Crystal Lake should help improve at least the turbidity of the water. It won't be as cloudy as it has been. So that's all I have, Judge.
All right. Magistrate Hounds.
Nothing today, Judge. Thank you.
Magistrate Hawkins.
Next Tuesday is Veterans Day, and I just wanted to wish all the vets happy Veterans Day, and thank you for your service.
Magistrate Dye.
Nothing.
Magistrate Logston.
Judge, a couple things. When we were working with the Highway 22 condemnation, I was sitting there online, and I was looking at Lake La Villa. I was looking at the different parcels of land and how some were small, how were big. And I came across a piece of property that Oldham County owns. And it just started to make me think, how many pieces of those properties are out there that we own that there has to be a record of them somewhere? Is there any way we can get a list of all those parcels that are off the tax roll for Oldham County? I mean, this is right on the road going back to Briar Hill. It's an acre. It's not something that ever be used. And I would just like to know how many acres that we have out there that are not being utilized. I understand the park back there has nothing to do with the park. This is going up Briar Hill Parkway, right on the right. There's a piece of property there. It just made me start thinking about, how many other pieces of property are out there. So
I can't really answer that question. Did you say it's the entrance to Briar Hill?
When you go
off
on
22?
Right off 22.
Right.
You go up the hill.
I mean, there's probably a reason why we own it. And,
I agree.
I think you just said it's not worth anything in the sense
I didn't say,
that,
if I said that, I didn't mean that. What I meant is I want to find out how much all this stuff is worth so that we can put it back on the tax rolls. If it's not going to do us any good sitting there.
Well, I
There's
don't
no
think we
need
have-
of it sitting there.
In my knowledge, we don't have anything sitting around that's worth something that can go back on the tax rolls. I don't know how you're going to, I know about the entrance to Briar Hill Park.
You're
I mean,
misunderstanding. Not that it's not worth anything. If the county's not using it, there's no need of it being on the books. We need to put it back
well,
out there and sell it.
where would it be?
I'm sorry?
Where would it be?
What are you going to do with it? Just let
Well,
it.
are you going to
We
sell
don't
it?
even
Do you
mow
think
it.
somebody will buy it?
Somebody would buy it. I just want to know how many of these parcels are sitting
Well,
around.
I don't
the
really
county.
know. I mean, I don't know if we can, we can try to find out, but we don't have much. We might have something that we've accumulated through default in Lake Louisville or something, but we don't have much. Rather than focus on us, I think you ought to ask that question to the school board. They have property, we don't.
I don't have no
Let me-
control
let
of the
me add
school board.
something to
I'm
that.
on
Okay, yeah,
fiscal
well, you're
court, so that's why I
taxpayer.
asked that question.
As you die.
Some of the property back at Lake Louisville, when you come down the Parkway to the stop sign, you make a left into Orchard Grass or right into Briar Hill, okay? There were some roads that were dedicated coming off 22 was supposed to come out on East Orchard Grass, but it was never finished. Some of those, there was some lots in, I've looked at all of those. There's about 1 or 2 lots in there that has our name on it.
It has our name on it.
Yeah. Now, I don't know why, but there's a lot of, I think years ago we decided to do away with all those never to be built streets. This house we just had up here, there was a street, the driveway behind it, that was supposed to connect, and I forget the 2 roads. You see where that road came down where the driveway was? It would go all the way over to the next street, and I can't think of the name.
No.
There's a lot of them back
This is right on top
Well,
of the hill.
we can try to find out, but my sense is that there isn't much.
Well, if it's got our name on it, it'd be at the PVA office.
Right, shouldn't they?
And the
Hard to
other thing, I was back in Briar Hill, or excuse me, Brentwood, and I was doing some construction inspections. And are we ever going to tear out, Jim, I guess this would be, are we going to tear out those, there's 3 speed humps on one road that I didn't even recognize, and it about tore my car up running over them. So I don't know if, those need to be taken out. They serve no purpose.
Those aren't speed humps. They're actually to divert stormwater.
We don't
because
have them
there's
in
a-
any other street through there.
Well, that street's it's at a relatively steep grade, and the issue was stormwater was going down that street and it wasn't getting into the curb and gutter because you don't have the final lift of asphalt. So the engineer for the development asked us if they could put these water bars in to direct the stormwater into the curb and gutter so you don't have a massive flow down just the roadway. So we authorized that, and that's what they are right now. It's to get the stormwater into the system while the construction's not completed. And I agree with you, they're large, but that's the reason for them.
I have to agree to disagree on that one.
Well,
Those movable?
that's what they're for.
I understand, but
Those
there's a lot
movable, or they-
steeple here.
Yeah,
steep
they
hills.
will mill those out
Oh, okay.
before they put the final surface in. They're not permanent, they're
Not
temporary.
like a parking block.
No. They'll be gone when the contractor's ready to finish the project.
Judge, if I can answer or try to answer Magistrate Logston's question, back in 1994, when I was on the court, if I remember, our county engineer put together a list of all the lots that were owned in Lake Louisville, and they were all like 20 by 100. There's very small pieces, and we auctioned those off in the paper, and I don't remember exactly much more than that. It's been 30 years ago, but I think we got rid of all the county-owned lots because the original Lake Louisville went bankrupt, and the county took back over the property. So there was hundreds of them, and they ended up selling them at auction through bids.
Did you say you were on the court in 1994?
I was, ma'am.
Wow. Congratulations.
Okay.
Second.
I'm old.
Are you the second in our continuity? Okay.
Well, you've been here before. All right, I'm going to, we'll wind up in just a second. I want to address what Ms. Toole said here about raising questions about people not stating their addresses. I think it's very important when people appear in a public forum for other people to be able to make judgments about what is being said. And part of the judgment about what is being said is, are you a resident of Oldham County? And are we really interested in what somebody in Carroll County thinks about activities in Oldham County? I'm not. You might be, but I don't think so. The television, Judge Kinzer began our television service, would you say 25 years ago? Right about the year 2000. We've been on cable and we've been on internet, and I've been here for 19 of those 25 years, and we have never, to my knowledge, had anyone ever bring up the sense that they were threatened because they had to, give their address. It hadn't happened. It's only been some subject that surfaced in the last little while because some people have come and, well, I don't want to tell people where I live. Well, as we are the elected officials here, it was questioned earlier when I asked for people who are registered voters in Oldham County. The registered voters in Oldham County put us in these positions. It wasn't just people who happened to live here somewhere. It was the registered voters that decided who would operate the county government here. And I think it's incumbent to keep that positive. I'm not interested with somebody who might be a resident of Florida who happens to come up here for 3 months in the summer thinks about what goes on in Oldham County. It's the people who pay the bills here are the people who are entitled to make decisions about us and other activities in the county. So if you feel threatened in any way or have had anybody say something to you that's intimidating in some way, I would like to have you meet with our law enforcement people. We'll deal with it, but it's, in my experience here, and I believe I could speak for at least most of the other magistrates here, no one has ever threatened anyone because they had a point of view that was seen on our cable or on our internet connection. And many of the people that speak here are on Facebook with all kinds of opinions about everything, and your name can be put in a telephone directory in the internet, and people can find out within seconds exactly where you live. So it's not, we're not doing anything that's unusual here at all, other than asking people to verify that you're a resident of Oldham County and that we're interested in the Oldham County opinions, but beyond Oldham County, I don't think we have to give the same weight to. So that's my opinion. So, all right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.